What in the world is the Great Tribulation and the coming of the Son of Man? The Great Tribulation is the time leading up to the Day of Judgment, which is what the coming of the Son of Man is. It is when he's going to gather his elect and judge everybody according to what they have done, not according to whether you believe Jesus died on the cross or not. So, is context important? Have you read this passage yourself? Have you had it read to you? Obviously, context is important. The words are important. So let's read it right now and find out exactly what this is and when it says this stuff is going to happen. This is how it starts. Jesus left the temple and was going away. When his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple, but he answered them, "You see all these things, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will be not one stone left standing upon another that will not be thrown down." So what do we have so far in Matthew chapter 24? The disciples point at the temple, and Jesus tells them it's going to be thrown down. So what's next? As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" What is the end of the age? It is the end of the age, the new heaven and new earth, which we're going to get to. Who is he talking to? The disciples. Where are they? They're on the Mount of Olives, and they're in private. There's nobody else around that Jesus is talking to but the disciples in this very moment. So it goes on to say, basically, there's going to be Christ pop up and false messiahs. Don't listen to them. He says there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, which is kind of vague because all of recorded human history, there's always been wars and rumors of wars, even today in 2025. Now, verse 9 says, "They will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to unalivement, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray, because lawlessness will be increased. The love of many will grow cold, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come." The abomination of desolation. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. This is very important. What is the abomination of desolation that Daniel's talking about? He mentions it in chapter 11. Where it actually comes from is First Maccabees, chapter 1, verses 53 through 55. Antiochus Epiphanes IV had placed an altar to Zeus in the Holy of Holies, the Jewish temple. This was during the Maccabean revolt. It is what caused the revolt, and it is what led to the tradition of Hanukkah, the Jewish tradition of Hanukkah. Now, what else did he say here? He says, "Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains." Fortunately, we know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the destruction of the temple, which happens in 70 AD. He is telling people in Judea to flee to the mountains during this. Oh, man. The coming of the Son of Man. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Immediately, that means directly after the tribulation. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man. And then all of the tribes of the earth will mourn, and when they see the Son of Man coming out of the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, he will send down his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. From the fig tree, learn this lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, at the very gates. Truly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words never will. So what exactly is he saying there? He's saying immediately after the tribulation, which we just went over, that's when there's going to be wars and rumors of war, and the women are going to flee to the women will flee to the mountains from Judea, and the temple will be thrown down. This is in the year 70 AD. Jesus doesn't give a year. He just says the temple's going to be thrown down. And fortunately, we know exactly when that happened. Now, he is saying immediately after that is when the end will come. Heaven and earth will pass away. This is beyond clear. It also says, let the reader understand, which means if you are reading this, you should be able to understand it. So read it yourself so you can understand it. Even though I'm reading most of it right now, I skipped some of the verses about, he says over and over again, many are going to come in my name and false prophets and stuff. It just repeats that. But anyway, the end, according to Jesus, will happen right after the Great Tribulation, which is the year 70, when the temple is thrown down. When Rome attacks Jerusalem, you have to flee to the mountains because you don't want to be in Jerusalem when that happens. He's not talking about the world here. He says, if you are in Judea, flee to the mountains. This generation will not pass away before all these things take place. What generation? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the one he's talking to in private right then. This generation does not mean a different generation way later. If he meant a different generation way later, he probably would have said generations from now or a generation far away, but he doesn't. He says this generation will not pass away before all these things take place. So what can you surmise from this? Jesus was wrong. What he got right was the destruction of the temple, which coincidentally was written after the fact. What he got wrong was the day of judgment. Unless you think the day of judgment's already happened, this is clearly a false prophecy from the Messiah, Jesus, who can't be a Messiah. He can't be God because he has given false prophecy. And according to Deuteronomy 18, if they say something is going to happen and it don't, they are not a prophet and should not be feared. Read the book yourself. Jesus is a phony. Let's drop this nonsense from this book.